Hello, everyone, and hello to our viewers online. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started in about 10 minutes. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just lowering the shutter speed. I guess I could go up a couple on ISO. I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to go, I don't want to, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Holy cow, do we have a show for you tonight. I'm so excited. Are you excited though? I want to hear you. That's what I'm talking about. Hey everybody, we're here from Montreal, Jojage. That's right, we're coming all the way from another city to show you how we do slam poetry. Comment on se fait du spoken word chez nous. C'est un scene qui est bilingue. C'est vraiment fun là. And yeah, we're gonna show you what we do. It's gonna be great. We're live streaming, so hey everybody at home, I hope you're comfortable. It's a beautiful night out, but you're missing out on this lovely church, this incredible venue that Versefest has here. So thank you so much. At Montreal, we do, at the Throw Poetry Collective scene, we do a regular poetry slam. So we got scorecards and judges in the audience, and it's very goofy and fun. And this year has been all about bilingualism and bringing communities together. We had a rough go with the pandemic. C'était vraiment difficile pour beaucoup de monde. And so we're really trying to bring communities together, and that's part of the reason we're here. We reached out to Avonlea, reached out to Versefest, and look at this, man, holy cow. So I got 4 poets for you. We brought a whole caravan. We're driving down, making up crazy jokes and truths to tell you. And so I'm gonna present to you Raisa Simone, Lucia De Luca. I'm gonna show you Marijke Vandenhoven and also Antoine Leclerc. These are all incredible poets, very different set of talents that they're gonna show you. It's gonna be really cool. And first up is gonna be Raisa Simone. Now, Raisa's a longtime friend of mine, has been part of the Throw Poetry Collective for many years, helping us run a show. Incredible poetry from the heart, about issues of race, gender, about hair. And honestly, I couldn't have a better friend in the world. Now, in our scene, we do this thing, okay? We go 3, 2, 1, throw, and everybody says throw together. Can we do that? Yes. Hell yeah, all right, cool. So I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, throw. We're all gonna say throw together. We're gonna welcome Raisa to the stage, and we're gonna applaud. We're gonna scream our lungs out, because we're so excited to welcome Raisa Simone with a 3, 2, 1, throw!
He joked once at a party that I had mulatto skin. And now if it stopped there, he could have been forgiven, but he rolled onwards like a wayward tumbleweed, weaving his tales of colonial fame and claiming that he had known Africa since he'd been to its heart. But his heart of darkness was nothing more than a ripoff, the recycled pages of another xenophobe. He was trying to play himself off as Joseph Conrad 2.0. Because you see, I carry my African heart, not at the stern of a boat, but in the sternum under my throat. My ancestors didn't bleed blue like you, they bled red through black skin, but for him, history could be bought with a gold card. He saw green in the dirt plots of that continent, but not that of the grass, but he still asked if he could at least lean to the other side. He still compared his history to slavery. He believed he could purchase adventure and call it bravery. He wanted his whiteness to be a get-out-of-jail-free card, and then he did on so many occasions and couldn't grasp why he was blockaded. Couldn't see that the melanin in our bodies can't be excavated. Hard as he tried, you can't find Malcolm X or B.B. King in an archaeological dig, but he wanted to be king of a mutinous castle. Wanted to be lion of the pride, but couldn't hide. He was just a wolf in sheep's clothing, just a joker playing prince, just a dwarf dressed as a giant. You see, my foremothers were those mammoths he took as meek. You see, he forgot that a past means survival. And history means life, and that the strife of a people cannot be adopted like a stray cat. Cannot be plucked from its mound, but he had circled Jerusalem and thought that that meant he'd weathered Ezra by the pound. His jet-setting message was paper-mache and Benjamins and bigotry trimming the tails of his jacket, and maybe I should have lifted the veil. I should have heralded him with 1,000 lines of anger. Maybe I should have shown him the dollar signs on his dirty knees, or maybe I should have just told him, my skin is the exact color it fucking should be. Thanks, y'all. Hi, I'm Raisa Simone. Thank you for welcoming us here. It's wonderful to be here. I haven't been in Ottawa in a little while, and it's wonderful to be doing poetry for you all. So the next poem that I'm going to do, I have a little mini set for you, just a little baby set, just a few little poems, just to get you nice and warmed up for everybody else. And I'm going to do a poem now called Torpor. The echidna is the only mammal that can survive a wildfire. While in torpor, the echidna can live without sustenance and emerge after the environmental threat has passed, malnourished, but alive. He will carve you a wooden cutout of your old cat and your snake named Buster. Then he will take you to an Indian restaurant and say that he sees years of summer in your spine and a bathtub of tea in your toe steps. And he is as red as all those men before him who were roses and exploded to the point of music. Red as men who split wood to skin, and red as men who bullet flesh to promise. And he is as red as those men who split your teeth open. He is as red as the men who purpled your skin. And so when he calls you screaming, you don't hang up the phone. The echidna hums in reassuring tones, and its stomach nests nutrients in preparation for natural disaster. The echidna's adaptive insides quiet, the brain's reaching for food, for water, for touch, for tender. You see, the echidna has lived in this forest for a very, very long time. In the sky, watches the echidna and says, men who set themselves on fire cannot keep you warm. He may look like the sun, but wolves have always conned sheep with cop clothing, and you know this. You don't have to eat dust to inhabit this earth. And if he needs to hunt something, let him be, both the spider and the fly, and you are the sky, and your fidelity is only to the sparrows. Tell him that you can only love the sky by letting it be blue, by letting it rise to crescent and sigh a morning to the planet. But he tried to catch the sky in a butterfly net, as if by setting enough fires a tree would snap, an oaken tenderness smoke from her trunk. So boy, don't ask for her hand unless you can match its lines to the mountains. And then a grasshopper laughs and says, you self-harm by falling in love with men who spit on women for parting our lips. And what if you stopped splitting limbs off your body, so better to reach everyone? Don't you know that a quilt is knitted to be touched whole? Why do you rip leaf blades off your branches for men who would not place their palms to your bark? And I say, well, the saddest thing is that the sky cannot see herself. Isn't that terrible? And then the sky turns to the fire and says, do you know how lonely it is to be made out of everything? To know that everyone who looks at you can only see 1/1000th of your body, and the sky says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that when you reached for my hands, they were just rain. And I could never keep track of time because I spent my days pacing the sun. I'm sorry that I'm only red in October. And I can only cradle a wildfire for miles, and I'm really only good for staying. When dying men set their eyes to me to pray, and he looks away and he says, should we call it off? And the sky says, I guess I'm just not very good at being a girlfriend. Thank you so much, everybody. I have one more last poem for you, and then I think we're passing it on over, well, to Be Weird, and then to the rest of the Throw Collective. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. It's been a while since I performed, so it's really, really nice to be able to share words with you all. My last poem is called Tell Me Where It Hurts. Tell me about your hands and their tunnel vision, and how every part of you is widened eyes. Tell me where it hurts. Let's trace fingertips over the ridges of wounds. Let's manage those canyons. And tell me where he took you, which room it was, and how you resent your own bed now. Tell me his name and then spit into my hand. And tell me her name, and where on the stairs she would block your body in. At least now you know all those cocaine-stained faces were never your home. And tell me about when they didn't believe you, About being webbed through the internet and long status lines around your neck. Tell me about betrayal that makes Caesar's fate look mild. And tell me about that child and you dying every time you learn that people are not kind. And then tell me about the kind ones. About your friend and her father making you seafood chowder. You see, there is some care that is so quiet that it is louder than any hate. Tell me about the open couches and cigarette offers and walks by the lake, and when she would tell you stories about the hospital like they were liturgies. And tell me about the one who wanted children and having no one to tell, and a swelling in your throat, and tell me about the quotes that you wrote on your own legs to better claim it. Tell me about anarcho-hypocrites and patch punk hisses and double-dutching double-speak, and tell me about weakness, about waking up to cuts that you don't remember making. And tell me if waste is possible. If we ever say goodbye to the tremors, throw away pain, or grow back our kid gloves over calluses, tell me which ground will take graveled overpass, will welcome unmissed memories. Tell me if there are graveyards for this. Tell me where it hurts. These things were made for the earth. Thank you.
Raisa Simone, everybody! Please, let's hear that one more time! Holy, let's go! Yo, Rice has been doing poetry for a while now, and it's so good to hear such lovely poetry. She's doing her PhD. I forgot to mention that. Smart cookie over there. Oh, man, oh, geez. Another thing I forgot to mention, because I was just so excited to get to lovely poetry. I forgot to mention that this is unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin peoples. Man, I totally forgot. There is a history to this land, and we're here on it, and I want to make it just like refresh everybody's memories. This is super important to keep in mind. Yeah, we should be super aware and work towards the goals set out in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It would be nice if we could maybe fix some of the damage that's been done to Indigenous peoples in this country. So, yes. Sorry that I forgot to say that. Super important. In Jajage, it's Mohawk, so I had to ask because I'm very ignorant. And up north where I'm from, it's Cree Ojibwe, so you got to know where you're speaking from and what land you stand on. Okay, so here we are. We're going on to our second poem. We've got a nice, lovely appetizer, a little scrumptious, delicious bite of lovely poetry from Bryce. I don't know, food metaphors with me. I'm not hungry. We had lovely banh mi sandwiches on the way here, so no excuse. Okay, everybody, next. Ça va être tellement fun. C'est mon poète favori en français. It's like my favorite French poet, okay? It's like if I were to take bossa nova music, incredible Spanish vibes, and then marry it with like French rhyming schemes. This would be Antoine Leclerc, okay? This is the next poet coming at you. You're gonna have someone who is dancing with his words. His bio dances off the page. It's a wild romp. I want you all to please put your hands together. Oh, nice, round, loud applause. 3, 2, 1. Throw! Antoine Leclerc, everybody!
Oh, this is bright. All right. Sir, out of curiosity, how many people here speak French? Okay, oh, okay, that's better than I thought. Ottawa, the most bilingual place in Canada, according to me. It's true, and anybody that speaks either language without an accent, they tend to be from here. Yeah. On va commencer en français, puisque la belle présentation de Be Weird calls for it. It's called le funk. Quelque chose se passe. Entre percussions lourdes, une bonne dose de basse. Dans l'équilibre entre les petits et les gros espaces, la pénombre rougit et le rose se fâche. Prose grasse, récitée sans mots, chaud de phase, esprits et sang chaud. Il n'est qu'en à lui gronde quand le morose se tasse, le funk, animal qui ose, se lâche. Il est ce rythme méchant que les pauses mâchent, cette flamme qui s'étend grâce à trop de gaz. Il rôde, se garde, s'amuse et se répand, se vaude, se garde, s'épuise et s'éprend. Il est dans tous ces endroits qui jamais ne passent au clair, toutes ces ambiances, toutes ces atmosphères. Son lasso serre les danseurs au pas faussaire, jusqu'à ce que leurs pieds forment une audacieuse paire. Il affectionne le sournois et n'aime pas l'austère, ne s'attarde pas au pourquoi de ses façons de faire, déplaceux d'air, il est gracieux, fier et fait grimper les hormones jusqu'à la stratosphère. Lorsqu'il apparaît au milieu d'une pièce, même les fonds de bar deviennent lieux de messe. Il met le feu au geste par ses vœux de liesse. Le calme est précaire et par lui, les dieux le testent. Ratoureuse peste aux symptômes brûlants, comme un peu de zeste dans le bruyant. Le funk est à la fois partout et fuyant, clair et troublant, noirci et brillant. Il vend du tangible et charme les friands. Il compte les sensibles parmi les clients. Il délie les jambes et vide les divans. Il frémit et tremble, déride les vivants. Il évite les mi-temps. Il est à fond non-stop. Il livre à ses adeptes un profond constat, une conscience d'entretenir un besoin immortel, une existence sans se tenir, une vie comme telle, avec ses petits bordels pour la ponctuer. Ultime défoulement après de longues ruées, quelques secondes nouées par le son, tuées toute forme d'ennui, le fun s'ensuit, les désirs sont sués, les duels embrasés, les vitres embuées. Il est ouvert. Il parcourt tout l'univers des possibles musicaux, aperçoit une famille et la cible aussitôt. Un peu comme un empereur dont le champ libre grossit trop, il est vorace. Il entame chaque nuance, chaque type de son, de groove, chaque substance, toutes les variétés, chaque sous-branche. Il ne trouve pas satiété jusqu'à ce que tout flanche. Sous la nappe toute blanche, il est la tache écarlate, la carte sous manche qui trache l'état plat, que volent les franges des robes, que se détachent les cravates. Il veut que le temps se dérobe et qu'éclatent les baraques, que se détraquent les maniaques, que ça foule les foules, que dérapent les cardiaques, qu'une danse folle découle, nos patates qui matraquent, que les sols s'écroulent, quand nos claques les attaquent, que nos jambes molles les foulent, quand ces paroles déboulent, le funk s'adresse à l'âme. Dans les méandres du subconscient, il caresse la flamme qui consume, la pudeur de vivre, la bête en nous que la fureur délivre, capable de faire fondre même les humeurs de givre. La fougue du cœur se livre lorsqu'on sait la libérer. Quand l'esprit s'avance d'un pas sidéré, quand toute la confiance est partie errer, cette ferveur infiltre l'air ambiant, mais elle ne sait pas s'y terrer ou y rester tranquille. Et quand toutes ces envies vaines ou différées s'empilent et que le temps file et que le sang vrille dans nos veines, cette soif de folie explose. Et c'est souvent le funk qui est derrière la première étincelle, le premier battement de la frêle émincelle qui permettra l'envol entre neige et plein ciel. Ultimement, le funk est là pour s'assurer que la vie qu'on mène est bien celle qu'on désire mener, histoire qu'on récolte le plaisir semé pour saisir demain, puis mourir serein. Merci. Let's spit flying out. Sorry, guys. Okay, I do one's in English and one's in French. Je vais en faire un en anglais, comme in between, puis on va faire une petite alternance. Ça vous va? Yeah, okay. This is a tribute to youthfulness. It's called Boy. I like it when you call me boy. I hope you do it for years to come. It fills me with a drowsy joy. The trivial can be glee to some. You see, I need the fun, the slightly strange, to exist in my life. It might be vain, but it's a mighty claim that I choose and seize. I try to maintain some youth in me, and to remain both loose and free, so I cruise them street with wide eyes turned to the sky-high chirps of flying by birds, rocking ripped jeans and a tie-dye shirt. I cover the walls with cynical inscription. I fill my heart with madness and my heart with pictures. I keep looking for that lyrical ignition. I'm a boy. I'm trying to fit that whimsical description. For this is all a mission, a juvenile quest, a way to put some truth in my chest, and a way to find some joy in my stress is destroying my rest. But I enjoy it, I guess. So I'm doing my best to bask in a form of grounded youthfulness, to be a clown whose usefulness is not bound by true fullness, but whose coolness is out of the bounds of bruised, useless codes designed by adults who are both confused and cold. Man, screw the moles. This step-by-step approach to life that sends all kinds of hopes to die and gives birth to these goals to lie, who stroll through life with their nose too high but always seem too low to fly. I go to hide it, they come around. I got a roach to light, and I love the sound of my steps leaving a bad scene because they're the disease, and I'm fiending the vaccine. I'm keeping the whack-teen on the surface of my soul, but I don't want the blacks, because I don't want the mad spleen to let nervousness unfold, so I stay frivolous and bold, spontaneous and rogue, limitless in hope. I understand the treasures that carelessness can hold, and so I do indeed indulge in loose behavior. They say it's bad taste, but I say I choose a flavor of creative juice to savor. I should be free to pick what kind of muse to favor, and so I pay tribute to blazers, and I play tunes to ravers. I don't even stay in a great place if I can move to greater. I put my views to paper. I go from blues to ragers, and sometimes I like it when something goes from fumes to crater. And I'm used to haters. We'll keep hating and keep waging rants directed at my cool and engaging stance. These caged and bland individuals always state my plans and my rituals are the face of a grand and enraging brand of things as shallow as fake implants, but actually wrong in their basic scan, because I'm a boy with the wisdom of an aging man. And it's amazing, man, to regard your ways not as a mark of age, but as things that you do to give your heart a rate. No one guards a gate at every block of age, and so you're free to choose a vibe and start to operate, and to keep believing that a new shot awaits. Someone start to hate a time that got away. And when you're in that spirit, it seems there's more to enjoy and less to tolerate. And so I haul the scrapes of my early days when I was green and coy, and I use them to mold my own peace and joy, and to defeat the ploys of those who stopped dreaming. I'm feeling spoiled because my life's got meaning, so I can't stop screaming that I won't be destroyed. I'm stomping the freezing or steaming soil, because like a kid when a piece of junk sees a toy, even as an old man, I will be a boy. That's the title that I choose to use to celebrate the madness that I refuse to lose, and I produce the goose that I am now. You want to go nuts tonight? Yo, I am down. All right. Un autre petit en français. On pourrait finir en anglais maintenant. Lequel que je vous fais? OK, celle-là. D'un bord, la passion ardente qui visite les extrêmes. De l'autre, la nuance savante qui limite les excès. L'une rutile mais effraie, l'autre est lucide mais respecte parfois vices et méfaits au nom du droit d'être libre d'être épais. La passion s'excite et s'embrase vite, se précipite et s'enferre, j'y cite, dans l'éthique, pendant que la nuance hésite encore et encore dans un temps mort fixe. Elle dit que ses mentors sont en retard et elle s'empare vite de la patience des gens qui malheureusement s'absentent déjà. La passion est vive et viscérale, vivante et sidérale, une pente où tout dérape et où le bon sens est misérable. La nuance penche vers l'idéal, elle pense l'air minéral. Mais quand elle danse, elle reste prise et lâche, elle s'enfarge dans ses idées lâches. Si une personne passionnée me parle de n'importe quoi, je vais l'écouter. Enfin, presque, car je suis dégoûté par les soi-disant passions d'âmes déroutées qui, dans leur haine, semblent étouffer. Une personne nuancée brillera par son éloquence, par ce respect, cette importance qu'elle accordera comme une récompense, même à ceux pour qui ça a bien peu de sens. La passion éclate, explose, attaque et ose. Elle prend une sacrée dose d'apothéose, elle décape, la débarque s'exauce, elle épate, et son casque est rose, elle s'écarte, montre ses cartes aux autres, même quand la trace ou la farce ou la taxe est grosse. La nuance est posée comme la rosée, comme le turquoise de San José, comme les mots nocés, comme le vin rosé, comme celui qui est jamais sûr, même avant d'oser. Passion, nuance, deux bouts d'un long continuum, d'un bord bondit le bum, de l'autre il songe, il Les deux bouts peuvent prendre une splendide forme, mais il faut avouer que leur remous parfois gronde et tonne. Parfois la passion plombe sur les ondes et en surplombe les formes. Parfois elle est une ombre qui rend sombre certaines femmes et hommes. La nuance peut être une force modératrice, un genre d'écorce qui désamorce bien des cas tristes, mais elle est parfois soft et se torche de choses poches et tough avec une élégance d'impératrice. Elle prend une puff de fuck off et s'écorche l'étoffe et reste là sans bouger comme une mauvaise actrice. L'une manque parfois de tact et l'autre manque de jus, une dualité qui claque et je me penche dessus. Souvent je sens le cru qui remonte et mon front et mes tempes qui suent, de l'intense qui rue dans les brancards qui sent fort, je m'élance sans retenue. La nuance finit par me gagner comme on gagne un prix, par chance, sans reçu. Elle supplante enfin cette passion dont je me sens repu. et dont je suis par moments amèrement déçu. Nuances, passion, toutes deux nécessaires, comme le sont les chiffres et les lettres de l'abécédaire. C'est imparfait, c'est clair, mais comme le sel et le poivre, c'est comme si tout partait de cette paire. Je nuancerai donc mes passions, je me passionnerai de mes nuances, je doserai mes grandes réactions, je brûlerai l'accoutumance, non pas une quête d'absolu, mais plutôt d'équilibre, un travail constant pour tout esprit libre. Merci. I'm more nervous than I thought I would be. Le dernier, je vais le finir en anglais. Context, trigger warning at the same time, j'imagine. I wrote this when Mac Miller died. Like a rapper that I really enjoyed listening to. So here it goes. Man, there goes another one. Another homie who won't see another son. We treat them like they're holy, but for real, they're just humans, lovers, bums, motherfuckers, brothers, sisters, and sucker mums, whose demons are sometimes cumbersome, so they run out of ways to muster fun. Gone are the days of the bus shelter blunts. They've lost feathers, tons, since their last multicolored stunt. They moved on to better drugs, which you think should mean better fun. Yet, the craving is the only thing that gets a run for its money. They say the feeling is sweet. Sure, but the honey is costly. Still, these pills, they get a ton. Leaves them kinda stunned until their thunder crumbles under tons of thoughtless slumber. They bundle benders with wholesome candor until the fun day ends up in nothing short of tragedy. I guess sometimes you just got to get higher. You just got to see. The moment is right there, and you've got to seize it. But you better remember to open your mouth to breathe air and not deceive your own prophecy, man. 26. That's early for your heart to freeze, man. Like Michael said, you've got to beat it. But I guess whatever you think of him, Michael's dead from just about the same shit his doctor would feed him. So what is it about these pill-popping pop icons, these ever-using music stars? Well, I guess when you get to a certain level, when you're the top of things, when you're the boss, the king, the queen, with no fucks to give, when the scene, when the scream give you all kinds of love to cling to, when they sing your name and feel you, when they got the sting and fiend you just enough to think that whatever you say, you always just speak truth, then it's a must, I think, that afterwards, it takes a lot to bring you to a similar level. So you might give a shot to shrinks and sometimes feel like you crossed the bridge. But I guess before long, a doctor comes along and goes, "Do you feel like the future has nothing to bring? Don't worry, I got just the thing." But what do I know? Not a thing. Except that we even lost a prince to this. It seems even music royalty, or especially music royalty, just got the binge, just pops the pills. Yo, drop the French talk, man. Here we are. This is mainstream. Celebrities and junkies often are on the same team nowadays. Or has it always been that way? Cushy boredom, killed by a daydream. Now you might ask, who are you to tell people to stay clean? Until you realize, I'm just urging folks to stay alive. Thank you.
Antoine Lecloud, everyone, put your hands together, s'il vous plaît. Serrez les mains. Holy cow, everybody. We've seen two of the four poets, and I still haven't introduced myself as the host. So I'm Be Weird, everybody. How's it going? B-E-W-Y-R-D. I'm the president of the Throw Poetry Collective. Run it with Dina Smith, another old head. And yeah, Yeah, that's probably enough of an introduction. I do poetry too, but not tonight. Tonight, I'm a host with fun. All right, everybody, we got 2 truths and a lie for you. Let's see how well you know Montreal, okay? You should be able to know which one of these is a lie. There are hordes of feral raccoons everywhere. 1. Tam-tams is one of the largest unorganized festivals that happens every Sunday when it's nice out. 2. Or 3, orange julep is not orange, and in fact, it's a shade of purple. You just can't tell because when he takes pictures, it turns orange. So which is it? What's the lie? It's the 3rd one? You sure? Are you gonna come up here and say with your full-throated breath it's the 3rd one? No, she's saying no. But she's right! She's right, everybody! Applaud! Kind lady in the back. All right, everybody. We got another poet for you. We have to introduce small amounts of cringe so that when the poets go, this just like blows your mind with how incredible and poetic they are. So that's what I'm here. I'm the public marionette, let's say, or the piñata. Our next poet today is Lucia De Luca, who is an incredible poet in Tiohtià:ke, who has been part of Poet TV online, is working to be a storm poet for the Canadian Individual Poetry Slam, was at SIPS last year and a finalist, won the Quebec Writers Federation, won a prize for spoken word, has been working hard in the city, also a teacher, incredible poet, and I want you all to please, please, put your hands together, s'il vous plaît, serrez les mains, with a 3, 2, 1, throw! Lucia De Luca!
Good evening, everyone. I'm just attaching my phone. I'm a teacher, so my memory by the end of the day is not always its best, but I'm expecting good things. Okay. Before my parents' wedding photos faced the wall at the back of what is now Mom's unshared closet, she is in the kitchen cutting bagels in half using a bagel slicer. It's better to cut the bagels before you freeze them, she reminds me, and you need to freeze them so that they stay fresh longer. With this batch of bagels, the bagel slicer is creating 1/2 too thick and the other half too thin, rather than 2 equal, infinite loops. Mom, sure disappointment is ahead, still uses the bagel slicer to cut a 4th bagel. Perhaps it is her way of resisting calling a center that still has light shining through it a black hole, or perhaps when the thinner half breaks at its smallest point again, she considers it a victor rather than broken because of its refusal to bear its whole. But still, when I say, maybe stop cutting them with the slicer, my mom looks at me like I am novel and pulls out a toothed knife. The rest of the bagels take longer to split, but Mom is pleased by their symmetry. A few years before the bagel incident, I gave my dad a mug that I got for him while in Athens on a school trip. He uses the mug a few times that week before he notices that the dishwasher is causing the print to start to fade. He is frowning at the mug when I tell him, maybe it's more of a hand-wash kind of mug. He shrugs under the weight of being the recipient of a gift that requires his effort to preserve. He keeps using the mug, but also keeps putting it in the dishwasher, and after a few dozen times, the print is nearly invisible. The mug gets in line and spends the next few weeks scooching its way to the back of the cupboard, a relatively comfortable place because if you have to be naked in public, you can do so more inconspicuously with your back against the wall. Some reconfigurations later, Mom is packing Dad's things. I know she keeps the bagel slicer that was originally a Christmas present to Dad, but I'm not sure if the mug is packed in one of his boxes, and I do not check the back of the cupboard. It hurts less to consider the mug Schrödingered rather than dead, but part of a life I acknowledge we existed in and part of a life my parents want to forget. My parents may question who this poem villainizes, but A previous version of myself only had the armor of preparing to write this story, and it was then that I decided stubbornly that there would be no villains, and that the only confirmed victims are the mug and the first third of a dozen bagels, and while in Dad's narrative he is Bagel whose brokenness is hidden under cream cheese spread by his slicer's knife, and while in Mom's tale she is not just blank mug, she is chipped rim being bled on by the lips of her user, this poem is mine, and I am Bagel, nor Mug. I am only their most attuned observer. All right, so that's my first poem. Okay, this next poem was also written with regards to my parents getting a divorce, and it references some of the changes in my childhood home after my dad moved out. Is the mic okay? Maybe I can take this off. That's good now? Okay, thank you. Okay. Sometimes, when I hear our garage door open on a warm day, I think it might be my dad in black and red spandex putting away his bike with the pedals that clip to his feet. Sometimes, depending on the season, I still expect to hear the sound of his motorcycle or his snowblower around midnight after one of his shifts at the airport. Sometimes, after walking home, I forget that the car on the driveway is mine now, and I expect my dad to be inside wearing an old work uniform on one of his days off while he paints my bedroom 2 shades of pink or rips the floor out of the kitchen. Our home hates him for moving out. It displaces its anger by taking a torch to our fridge and air conditioning. It commissions our toilet to start throwing up for attention and pinches our ceiling's weak spot. Its need to oversee the drama until it cries. And when my mom takes down the rusted swing set that my dad put up nearly 2 decades earlier, I sob both the maple trees on our property die of a broken heart, and I plead with our back deck to keep standing because my dad built it to. Meanwhile, he is only a 7-minute drive away, letting his new girlfriend paint my new bedroom gray. Having lived in both of these houses for a bit, I learned that Marie Kondo has not mastered the art of decluttering when you belong to 2 places. You can actually be more weightless with more things because you don't have to carry them back and forth. That's right, not all these sweaters bring me joy, but I need them, so there's enough to hang in 2 closets, enough to understand I will wear them eventually, notice them bi-weekly, but me and my toothbrushes never figured it out. Even though I lived in 2 houses for a bit, I never asked my dentist if I should still be changing my toothbrushes after 3 months if I only used them every second week. Never asked her if the bacteria buildup can reach its limits before the bristles meet their own. Before my dad told me that he and my mom were separating, we were sitting across from each other in a trois brasseurs, and a blur of black and red came on the TVs, and when he said, "It's me," I immediately accepted his little dad joke as the far-fetched truth behind why it was his idea to go out for lunch. To tell me he was in a commercial for bikes that don't let go of you as they fall. It's astonishing how I can notice the nail on the pavement and then select to forget it. How I can ride unbalanced and have difficulty stopping, then blame it on the brakes instead of on the front tire. Because if Dad tells me he's in the commercial, then he won't confirm that he's sneaking off to appointments with his lawyer. He's not filing for divorce. My mom doesn't infuriate him, and there's still noise at midnight. If my dad's in the bike commercial, there are maple trees on our property, and their branches refuse to let go of their color. Because that's what the kid with the curly ponytail is reaching for when she swings. Thank you. So, I turned 26 in November, and it was kind of a weird day because I largely overloaded it with things that are not birthday related, so I didn't really get to maybe celebrate it in the way that I would have liked, but I thought that's okay because I'm an adult now, and this is what adults do. But by the end of the day, I just ended up feeling very childish, and I think this is a reflection of that. 26 is our small pan coated with the good olive oil, is cheese and green onion in my eggs, is waking up early enough to cook on medium low instead of plain eggs cooked on high. 26 is finishing the sips of yesterday's tea before boiling a new kettle, is my boyfriend saying, "Have a great birthday, I love you," before sweetly adding, "You're not listening to me," as he leaves for work, is having my head in the notes app of my phone because I'm not sure if today will be a good birthday, but I'm sure it'll be a poem. 26 is wishing I hadn't worn my favorite shirt yesterday, is almost forgetting my purse with my registered Starbucks card that gets me a free drink every year. 26 is parking before 8:15 in one shot with 1 inch to spare from the curb for the first time after 3 months of practice at my new job. Is the staff newsletter saying, "Good news, no one is getting older this week. I forgot to fill in the Google form." Is breaking my streak of crying on my birthday and promising this before noon. 26 is 4 gluten-free chocolate cupcakes from an 8th grader. Is my birthday in her Google Calendar. Is eating the cupcake with pink frosting before lunch duty. Is telling my students I don't want to send anyone to the office on my birthday. Is a student asking me why I didn't stay home on my birthday. Is eating a second cupcake after the last bell rings. 26 is free peppermint tea in a part of town where the baristas know all the customers except me by their first names. Is sitting to write another paragraph of my education and law papers, muttering a presentation for my resource management class as almost 2/3 of a master's degree, is leaving the washroom to find someone already occupying the table I left. 26 is thinking no one should be in class on their birthday night, is being last on the presentation list, is ending class 7 minutes late, is a walk back to my car so cold I remind myself that today, right now, it's my birthday. Is coming home to my favorite person and surprise orders of biryani from a local restaurant and Boustan potatoes. Is mom singing happy birthday over FaceTime because it's my first birthday too long to see her. 26 is a need for rest that dominates my want to feel like the birthday girl. Is falling asleep before I'm ready. Retainer still in its case. 26 ends while I'm sleeping. Misses the decade-long ritual I had with myself to stay up until my birth minute, 11:10 p.m. Blames 25 for packing my schedule so tightly that I missed my own birthday. Sheds 1:30 a.m. tears that make it feel like I arrived at my birthday even though it's over. Turns our living room lights off and Christmas lights on. Watches them gallop across my bookshelf and orbit the ornaments on our mini tree. Celebrates 1.5 hours late. Falls asleep to the tapping of adult nightlights. Okay. The next poem I have is called The Littlest Big Spoon, and it's kind of a reflection of my boyfriend and I's relationship. You are a forgotten to-do list in your pocket, wiped clean in the washing machine, 11 hours of sleep on a Tuesday night, recipes being written as you dice a full tool bag, rarely unzipped. I am a metro arriving on time with doors that open exactly at their designated floor lines, a bottle of vegan Baileys next to our fire extinguisher, the same little black dress since high school, toilet paper handed to you from the next stall. You are the biggest big spoon, and the largest thing up your sleeve is that you can play small. I am the littlest big spoon wrapped around you like a magic trick, staying in bed longer on weekend mornings only because you're in it. Except while your calm has made a nest in you after signing in blue ink across your jaw, mine is a spinning dancer, rotating both left and right, 2 faces in one, a still circle moving. Straight lines dressed crooked, isn't even my best trick. The most aggressive rabbit under my hat makes my friend feel sorry for you and my mom think you saved me. Is a brainyard that is a graveyard that grieves the men in my family. Tests the waters at Pier 21 for remnants of them where they arrived. Only knows the voice of my mom's father through amniotic fluid. Will never understand why my dad didn't call after his motorcycle accident while leaving the orange julep on the 35th anniversary of his father's death. Wonders who would be standing in my place if my mom or her mother married their first fiancés. Can count the number of times my dad has said my mom's name in the last 4 years. Once, when he was annoyed with me and accidentally addressed me by her name instead. Doesn't have any heartbreak that is only my own. You are my first love and you've never hurt me, which means you can be the first heartbreak that only knows me. The last time I grieved every way you may disappear without me seeing the sleight of hand that took you. You looked at my quivering chin and asked Is it happening again? Said, I'm not going anywhere, and I'll keep repeating it until you believe me. At 6'3", you are more love than water, so you don't force a cup of orange pico into my hand as I spiral. Don't put an ice cube in my soup to subside frustration. Know my best poetry comes from a burnt tongue. See as much of my true reflection in a puddle whose base is absorbed by every sidewalk crack it didn't put there, as you do in a frozen lake who also can't control everything, but is more stoic about it. The last time my breath became noticeably unpolished, started missing you with you still in front of me. You picked me up and tucked the littlest big spoon in your lap. Knew she would do the same for you later. Okay, I have one last poem. It's called Ciao. In Italian, ciao can either mean hello or goodbye, so take it how you will. And I wrote it after I returned from being an exchange student in Sydney, and it's about the first 4 times I saw my grandmother again. And while I was away, the biggest fear I had is that my grandmother, who had been diagnosed with dementia, wouldn't remember me or wouldn't remember me in the same way. When I returned home after 6 months, my dad's warning of my grandmother's digression did not weigh heavy on the parts of my mouth which I used to say goodbye. They have built the strength for it because my grandmother's neck is the skinny part of an hourglass. I said goodbye once when her mind slid down her throat, disassembled, and began evaporating through her pores, and I'll say it again, when her body gets lost in the sandstorm. Her mind is a well-loved record, both scratched and whole, with a disability that sings louder than it looks. Her mind skips, but her body is a stone sinking to the bottom of a lake. The more her body stops holding itself together, the more her mind stops holding itself together, the more her body bears its weight. On the first time I see her again in a half year, I see myself on the tip of her tongue. Ciao, nonna. E Lucia, I remind her. Ti ho sognato, she replies, and I imagine one of the ashes of her mind floating back to her one night so that she could remember me in a dream. The second time I see her, I remind her of the ashes that dissolved on her lips. E Lucia. Lo so, she assures me, and spends most of the time I'm there making up a song about everyone being beautiful. On the third time I visit, my siblings and I bear our names like compasses, and they orient her. She is impressed that my brother has outgrown my sister and I. She asks him what he has done this summer. I translate the question and ask him to pick something I am likely to be able to resurrect from my tongue. È andato al cinema, I tell her. My mouth is a Ouija board, and surprisingly the planchette does not have to move through rubble to indicate the Italian word for cinema, because 4 years earlier, my grandmother asked me to take her to the movies so that she could slip out of her house, slide out of her head, but she changed her mind, didn't want a young driver with younger siblings driving east while her parents were working, and so il cinema is the ghost of the last place we did not go. On the 4th time, she is lying face up in her bed, so still I am unsure she has sand left to swallow. Ciao, nonna. E Lucia. My name nor my face point her north. Vai a casa. She flicks her wrist towards the door. In Italian, distinguishing whether the word ciao is a hello or goodbye depends on its context. Dementia rips context from us both, steals my hellos from me, and forces me to say goodbye instead. Vai a casa, she repeats. Okay, nonna. Ciao, nonna. When I am 87 years old, will my grandchildren search the lines around my mouth that map where my words have been, and discover that while this life is hardly a well-oriented one, it still found a way to bring us together. Thank you. Have a good night.
I didn't hear you. That was Lucia De Luca. One more time. Let's go. Such a lovely audience. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. It's great to be here in Ottawa. One of the things we do in Montreal is play a little game that isn't 2 questions and a lie. We'll read out a poem, the first words of it, and then you got to try to figure out what the next lines are. So what's the next line to this poem? Do not go gentle into that good night. Close? Close. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Yes, poetry is beautiful. There's these lovely lines. Okay, so that was Lucia De Luca. Thank you so much once again for coming with us all the way from Jojage to Ottawa. What a wild trip. We have ourselves one more poet for you that's gonna blow your minds in crazy, crazy good poet, Marika, who is going to the Canadian Individual Poetry Slam in Vancouver, whose the name of the festival shall not be named. And that's a little inside joke for us. But Canadian Individual Poetry Slam, next, it's gonna be, I'm actually gonna be going as well, I think, which is gonna be weird, and I'm gonna be trying to do what they're doing. A great job, live streamers over here. You're rocking it, I love it. Hey, chat. I hope the chat is rocking. Yeah, we're having fun here. So we're gonna welcome the very next poet who has incredible poetry, probably the most vulnerable poet you'll ever see. I really love poetry that's real, that goes deep, that talks about who someone is or where you're from or whatever. And Lucia De Luca has incredible poetry that's drawing from like Italian culture and your language, and I love that. It's beautiful. Marika's gonna tell you some incredible poems, and we're all gonna welcome them with a huge applause, the biggest applause you can muster, with a 3, 2, 1, throw!
Thank you so much for having us. This is a super cozy venue. So I'm doing some poems in English, some poems in French. Mic up. I'm too tall. Some poems in English, some poems in French. My first poem is a confrontation that I had alone in my shower, where I have all my confrontations. And it goes like this. To the bouncer who followed me into the bathroom at the club and shined a flashlight up and down my body and into my eyes. Did you find what you were looking for? 3 words, echoing off those filthy bathroom walls. 3 words, unconvincing because I don't believe them as I speak them, the answer you want to hear but isn't true. 3 words, I'm a woman. To the bouncer who narrowed his eyes at my artificially flattened chest. I know you're just doing your job, but it hurts to think my masculinity is linked with violence. It hurts you think I'm coming in here to assault someone. It hurts you think I'm the problem. I'm not. I have never been the problem. The fact that we expect women to be assaulted in club bathrooms, that's the problem. To the bouncer who shined that flashlight in my eyes, did you find what you were looking for? What secondary sex characteristics did you scan, note, check off your list? Did you feel like a big man investigating my right to exist in a space? To the bouncer who debated granting me entry, do you think you're the first? As if I don't hear people place bets on my gender right in front of me, as if I don't see when strangers stare at my chest or my ass or my crotch. I get visually undressed every single day, and not in a sexy way, more in a fear for my physical safety kind of way, and it doesn't boil down to the bathroom. The bathroom is the tip of the iceberg. The bathroom is the symptom I want to cleave off my breasts, but I'm not in the wrong body. I'm in the wrong world. To the bouncer who looked disgusted, it's not my fault you've never seen anyone like me. That's a testament to our invisibility, and it's not up to me to teach you that onus shouldn't be thrust on us. We are not the problem. We are not sick. We are the symptom. These days, no bouncer follows me into the men's bathroom. But I lower my voice, shoulder my way past the urinal into the stall, lock the door with a click, pray that no one hears me empty my menstrual cup, toilet water stained red, blood in the men's bathroom. This next poem is a love poem in denial of itself. Tu ne me manques pas, pas le matin, pas dans le métro où je t'imagine m'attendre à chaque station, les bras ouverts, pas lors de la Saint-Valentin, quand j'avale les bougies que tu m'as achetées pour chasser les ombres de mon estomac, je pourris de l'intérieur. Tu ne me manques pas, surtout pas l'hiver, quand je traverse la surface glaciale du canal La Chine à pieds nus, glace instable, eau profonde, un froid tranchant qui coupe mon souvenir de toi en deux morceaux, avant et après. Quand tu m'as demandé pourquoi je n'écrivais jamais de poèmes sur toi, je t'ai répondu que pour moi, la poésie et le bonheur sont deux trains qui se passent en parallèle dans la nuit, que si tu glisses et tombes dans mes poèmes, c'est déjà trop tard. Tu ne me manques pas. Quand je ferme mes yeux, conscient ou inconscient, je rêve de toi quand ma cuisine connaît tes recettes par cœur, quand mon oreiller refuse d'oublier ton parfum, quand je tape l'épaule d'une étrangère à l'épicerie parce qu'elle a volé ton rire et il faut absolument qu'elle te le rende, quand mon seul confort est le déni total. Ton absence n'est pas un trou. Ton absence prend 1000 formes. Ton absence est un signet entre mes deux mains. Je vais garder ta place. Tu ne me manques pas. Pas le matin, quand les doigts du soleil s'étendent, cherchant ton corps dans mes draps. This next poem doesn't have a title, but it begins with an open question. Qu'est-ce que ça signifie, la transition? Tu m'annonces que tu vis un deuil parce que ta fille est morte. Ta discipline de militaire cache une fragilité énorme. Tu es obsédé par une image de force, mais papa, le courage ultime, c'est de lâcher le volant, lâcher le contrôle, lâcher prise. Le courage ultime, c'est la souplesse. Je ne suis pas brisée. Je suis flexible dans mes contradictions et je ne suis pas mort. Je ne suis plus un mirage. Je ne suis plus un point fixe dans la distance. Et oui, j'ai envie de mourir à chaque fois que je vois la tristesse dans tes yeux, mais seuls les fantômes assistent à leur propre funérailles. Les deuils les plus difficiles à vivre, ce sont les deuils pour les choses qui n'ont jamais existé. C'est le deuil de la nostalgie. C'est le deuil d'un passé imaginaire. Et en vrai, papa, tu fais le deuil de ta propre identité, une identité qui perd son sens, son repère, son référence à ta fille. C'est une identité de pont, à moitié construit, des ponts à sens unique. Tu restes figé dans un cimetière d'attente et ça ne m'appartient pas. Et ça n'a rien à voir avec moi. Donc, qu'est-ce que ça signifie? La transition. C'est le cri d'un nouveau-né. C'est l'acte de tourner la clé dans la serrure et de rentrer chez soi. C'est la douleur qui vient avec le mal du pays, enfin apaisée. I'm already at my last poem. This is what I like to call a pillow talk poem. She turns to me and says, "Teach me your body." Stern voice, firm hands, glass eyes, not an invitation, an order, teach me your body. As if learning someone's body were an obstacle, a hurdle on the way to orgasm, as if getting off is the same as getting to know, and opening up is not the same as letting in, and what if I'm not ready for that? What if I'm not ready for her? With her fox tattoo dancing across her hip bone, with the hand-rolled cigarette she lights from candles, with the tinted glasses she wears when she's sleep-deprived, her insomnia glasses. And what does she count while she's waiting for sleep? Does she count the cracks in the ceiling and the cracks in this image? Does she count the ways in which I've disappointed her? Does she count this as sex? This human Venn diagram, this moment between inhale and exhale, pain and relief, drawn and quartered, the tension we held in our bodies for months. I gave her nothing but promises and tortured stares. The anticipation of the thing always more delicious than the thing itself, and I've already taught her my body, because we've already traced each other's contours in our daydreams, because we've already taken up so much headspace, because we've already spent long nights separately looking at the same sky, and she looks at me like I've betrayed her because I have an orgasm, something shattered, something's broken. She tells me she's not used to sex like this, and I don't know what that means. Is it the non-linearity of this encounter where you can't remember where you started and you're scared to stop? Is she scared to stop when she looks at me? Does she see something clinical, something medical, a closed, fleshy system? Who taught us that our bodies are machines? Who lied to us? With her, I'm learning about all the body parts you don't think matter for sex. They do. The hollow between neck and shoulder, the inside elbow, the bags under her eyes. She looks tired of reading other people's bodies and neglecting her own. She tells me she hasn't touched herself in months, and she's asking how to please me. We just stare at each other in silence, letting it fill our lungs, her pulse fluttering under the thin skin of her throat, her eyes wide and confused, the script she's memorized dying on her tongue. Thank you.
Please give it up one more time for Marika! Yo, it was like a couple weeks ago we figured this all out. I didn't think it was gonna happen, but it did. And wow, look at that, everybody. Incredible poetry. Woo. I have a little short story for y'all. The Poetry Collective in Montreal, Thoreau's been around for about 15 years. We're going on to our 15th anniversary next year. It's gonna be fun. It's right hot. Vraiment fun, là. We're gonna party. And we found out this year that there is, I kid you not, an entire other French scene of poets doing slam poetry. They've also been around for 15 years. We've never spoken. This is the first year we spoke, okay? Yeah, ma'am. Antoine, il vient de la scène francophone. C'est pour cette raison qu'il est ici. And the point I'm trying to make is that community takes effort, and it's almost always worth it. It's almost always worth it. And you can make some lovely friends who you don't know if you could face the world without. And I really want to thank Versefest for having us here, especially in the spirit of community, of bringing people together for poetry, speaking truth, revealing our inner selves. You're all welcome in Jojage. You're all welcome in our scene, Thoreau Poetry. You can find us online. We'll be putting our poetry slams up online, little recordings here and there. We'll be doing little snippets. You can find us, Thoreau Poetry Collective, I think it's like TikTok and Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram. What all the kids are using nowadays, okay? You'll find us there. You're always welcome to come see us. Please keep writing. Thank you so much for having us, Versefest, and have a lovely, lovely rest of the week. We'll see you later. Bye, everyone. See ya. Have a good night. Au revoir. Bonne soirée.